afternoon, my listeners. Yes, I know it's been a little while since you heard from me, but I just wanted to let you know that first off, we had Hurricane Francine pass through my house, got flooded, and then we had some damage, and y'all, we was dealing with that. And then after that, then my work obviously got affected as well, as we were out of work for a few days, and once we were able to get back to work, then we literally had to play catch up. So I've been working hella overtime, and things are starting to get back to normal. So I do apologize for the long pause. I did try to keep up with my social media when I did have the internet access, because we were out of lights for a whole week, and then we had internet problems, not to mention one point my computer got cracked, and it's just problem after problem. So thank y'all for being so patient with me, and I am going to dedicate myself for one episode a week. Obviously, I cannot adjust for natural disasters that I cannot control, obviously. So bear with me. I will try to keep y'all up to date as soon as possible, as I'm able to do so. But for now, my schedule is going to be one episode a week. Sometimes I might be able to squeeze two in. And yeah, I just wanted to give y'all a little shout out and thank y'all so much again for being patient. So again, welcome to Criminalist Behavior Podcast, the podcast that takes you deep into the heart of Louisiana's history and current most chilling true crime stories. I'll be guiding you through the darkness of these crimes and all of those involved. Each week, we dig deep on those forgotten crimes or those crimes currently happening with the underlying legends that continue to haunt us. So lean in, listen, and get ready, because true crime is anything but ordinary. Stay with me as we unravel what happens in these mysteries. So today, we're going to be talking about the case of mysterious death of Miss Paula Boudreaux. And this is episode number 35. If this is your first time listening, hi, my name is Sarah Studier, and I'm your host for Criminalist Behavior Podcast. I want to thank you for listening to the show, and I hope you enjoy it. And when I say enjoy it, I really don't mean, oh my God, this is so much fun, but just me going on about a case that you may or may not have heard of, just to get the information out there, to get answers, hopefully, and maybe some more details involving this case, or all the cases for that matter. So trigger warning, this episode may contain content of graphic nature, including descriptions of physical and sexual violence against adults, children, and animals. Listener discretion is advised. So the mystery of Paula Boudreaux's disappearance, it all began on August 3rd, 1986, when Paula Boudreaux was last seen at her parents' home in Golden Meadow, Louisiana. The town of Golden Meadow was having its annual celebration at the Bull Club Fair, which is a church fair that is followed by the blessing of the boat parade in Lafourche's Bayou. So every year, even in Terrebonne Parish, pretty much every parish in Louisiana that's, with fishermen for that matter, they literally hold in this blessing of the boats before the shrimp season comes up. Pretty much it's a tradition, just so these people who are commercial fishermen and do this for a living, they get the blessing to have a good season and make money to provide for their families and to bring in Louisiana seafood, because Louisiana seafood, that is all. Anyways, so this church fair was following the blessing of the boats. And according to an interview done by Sheriff Craig Weber, who was elected, by the way, 5 years after Paula Boudreaux went missing, He stated that Bayou Lafourche passes right in front of the church in the center. So because the parade of boats went by and got blessed, people would be lined up along the highway, alongside the bayou, just watching the boat parade. They decorate the boats, got all kind of flags. I mean, we even have Christmas boat parades because, yeah, Louisiana's seafood, known for fishing, all that good stuff. Yeah, we have a Christmas boat parade where they got Santa on there, they got lights, and then, like, the best boat wins, with the decoration, all that good stuff. So, this is what was happening at this given time that Paula Boudreaux was last seen. So family members of Paula stated she left the boat parade festival that marks, the start of shrimping season around 10:30 p.m. And she was dropped off at her parents' home on B&R Lane by one of her sisters. And Van Boudreaux is Paula's brother, and he stated, she was brought home by one of my sisters, so I still live there with my mom and all. And Van is Paula's older brother. And according to Van, he believes that she was actually lured. And by that, he says that they were under the understanding that someone lured her over to the house and then they murdered her. It was the last time that Paula was seen alive. On August 6th, she was reported missing. And this is the year 1986, right? So, August 6th, she was reported missing by her sister Sue after 4 days went by of not hearing or seeing from her, because that was very unusual. Paula would never go without talking to somebody or, being in the presence of at least her family. I mean, close-knit family. We down here, we are pretty much all close-knit, with the exception of your sporadic family members, which we're not even going to depth with that because Lord knows they have them. Every family does, right? So, Sue reported her sister Paula missing to the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office in Galliano. And Paula, at this time, had a 4-year-old son named Eric. So, where was Eric during this time? I'm not sure. Maybe he was with a sitter while they were, attending the festival and the annual boat blessing. But nonetheless, Paula went missing and left behind her 4-year-old son, Eric, as Eric is still with the family. So, Golden Meadow, in case y'all don't know, is a very small community. And let me explain something. You will not pass through Golden Meadow going over that speed limit. Because if you do, baby, I don't care if it's 1 mile or if it's 20 miles. Your ass is getting pulled over. Yeah, the police in Golden Meadow don't play when it comes down to speeding and all that good stuff. Wish that was the case back then in 1986 when it came down to murders or, missing, disappearance, people, But no, speeding, by gosh, everybody. I don't care if you normally speed on this damn road, because I got a heavy foot, so I speed everywhere, right? Bet your bottom line, my ass is not speeding when I'm passing through Golden Meadow. There's this intersection where the median has a sign in the middle of the road and it says 50 miles per hour. I promise you I'm doing 48. Okay? Not 49 or 50, because 50, just a little hesitant more, and baby, they're pulling you over. Ain't no ands, ifs, or buts about it. They're pulling you over. It's ridiculous. But, yes, Paula was reported to the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office in Galliano. So, I'm sorry, I just lost my place. So, Golden Meadow is a small community, and the disappearance of someone would actually, send shockwaves through the community. I mean, you hear it in every little tale. Oh my God, a small town, everyone knew everybody, blah, blah, blah. No. Golden Meadow is literally a very small community. When I say small, we're doing I don't know, 1,500 people? Like, seriously, small. So, when something like somebody going missing or not being seen comes to play, yeah, it's going to be the talk of the town until the next thing pops up. Because that's what people do. They gossip. Whether it's true, whether it's false, they make up their own damn stories. It's fucking ridiculous. So, the small community found out that, Paula Boudreaux was missing. There was ripples running through the community. This, that, whatever, rumors happening. But what is a quee? The key questions that arose was, what was Paula's situation at the time of her disappearance? Were there any known conflicts part of her life? And to answer that in short, yeah, there were some little hiccups in her life, right? But I'm going to dive deep into that as we get through this, okay? So, there was no news articles, y'all. None. Written about the disappearance of 22-year-old Paula Boudreaux in 1986. When you look up Paula Boudreaux in 1986, I promise you, there's no anything in that very year of Paula Boudreaux being missing, disappearance, being murdered, anything about Miss Paula Boudreaux. Nothing, y'all. How chaotic is that? So, like I said, she was 22 years old when she disappeared. There were many different speculations based on rumors that were traveling through the grapevine, as I call it, in the small town of Golden Meadow. These rumors spread, and there were many, many different possibilities on what people suggested happened to Paula following the years of her disappearance. It wasn't until last year, 2023. Again, this happened in 1986. So it wasn't until January of 2023 that a distant relative of Paula found herself believing some of these rumors that was going around. Paula's cousin, Michelle Swess, started to connect dots on a Jane Doe that was found in a marsh in Slidell in the year of 1989. And the reason why this dot was being connected was due to some evidence that she was finding as she was researching. So, Michelle was researching her family tree, and she came across an empty spot as she was piecing it together in 2023. She started digging, and she found that Paula, a distant cousin, went missing in 1986 and was never found. So, Michelle stated the following: she just vanished. I never even heard Paula Boudreaux's name in my life. I am born and raised here, and I haven't even heard her name. So, Michelle Swess started stirring up this case by making a few phone calls all around Golden Meadow and to the town hall in Golden Meadow to speak with dozens of others on the phone, as well as through Facebook and through Ancestry.com. Michelle stated that this mystery was pretty much consuming her because she just couldn't let it go. Like, how someone in her family, distant mind you, but it was part of her family that went missing and was never found. The case was just closed or cold, whatever. How? So Michelle and her friend, who didn't want to be mentioned by name due to safety reasons, started searching the World Wide Web. And they wanted to see if there was any unidentified bodies in St. Tammany Parish in the late 1980s that, possibly could be connected to the case of Paula, right? Well, when they searched this, they came up with two results, right? One woman in these results was found a few weeks before Paula went missing, and the other was found by hunters in 1989 in a marsh in Slidell. The remains found off Bayou Paquette Road had been sent straight to the Louisiana State University FACES lab then, and a new forensic anthropology program that was started by Mary Mayhem helped law enforcement identify these remains. Now, Mary, she had actually gone to the scene and collected the skeleton from the Martian Slidell in 1989. And they did a grid search and found some other evidence near the scene. And all of that was taken back to the face lab at LSU for curation. The cause and manner of death has always been listed as undetermined. Michelle Swest and her friend found a profile on FBI's National Missing and Identified Persons System website that noted the remains found in St. Tammany in 1989 had hands and or limbs missing, which was a red flag for Michelle because it matched what she heard that may have happened to Paula during those rumors. So, let me catch you up just in case you got lost there, right? Michelle was doing a search on her family tree, found a spot missing, found out that a long-distance cousin named Paula Boudreaux went missing and was never found. She couldn't let it go. She then started making phone calls. One thing led to another, started researching the World Wide Web, see if any unidentified bodies were found in St. Tammany Parish during the 1980s. And one was before Paula went missing, so that one couldn't be her. So the only other logical explanation was the one that was found in the Slidell's Marsh in 1989 by some hunters. And Mary, who works for the LSU's Faces Lab, created this program that is forensic anthropology and helped identify what the victim would potentially look like. And she actually went to that crime scene to collect a skeleton and any evidence surrounding that area that potentially could lead to any answers in this case. If it wasn't Paula, then it would lead to whoever this Jane Doe is with the skeleton in the Slidell swamp, okay? So, Michelle stated that she noted that the remains were found in St. Tammany and the hands and limbs were missing from the body. And rumors that were going around Golden Meadow suggested that possibly was Paula's body. So in 2013, the Faces Lab had created a rendering sketch of what an unidentified woman may have looked like that was found in the Slidell Marsh. And when Michelle saw it online 10 years later, which was in 2022, she was stunned. She stated, "I had to stop. I had to catch my breath. And I just cried. Like, I freaking cried. And I was like, what are we going to do?" Because of the likeness of that image that the Faces Lab projected of what Jane Doe that was found in the Marsh and Slidell, it literally, strikingly looked similar to a picture she had seen of Paula Boudreaux. So Michelle and her friend emailed the Faces Lab, and they provided a tip that ultimately led the St. Tammany coroner to compare DNA of Paula's relatives to the remains. And in January 2023, Michelle Swest learned that her hunch of the Slidell Jane Doe that was found in 1989 in the marsh was right. It was, in fact, Paula Boudreaux. And Michelle Swest stated, "I have no words, none at all. My knees hit the floor, my heart was pounding, and then somebody was like," that she was literally referring to Paula Boudreaux's case that she pretty much solved on her own. So, now I'm going to tell you who was Paula Boudreaux. Paula Boudreaux was born on December 13th, 1963 to her parents, Victor Joseph Boudreaux and Leona Marie Thibodeau. She was one of 7 children. Her brothers are Guy, Van, and Vic Boudreaux, and her sisters are Lillian, Linda, and Sue Boudreaux. Paula was the 6th child to be born to Victor and Leona Boudreaux. At the time of her disappearance, Paula was 5 foot 1 inches tall, and she weighed about 130 pounds. She was last seen wearing 2 tank tops, one blue and one white, jeans, and dark brown clogs and footsie socks. She had a silver graduation ring, and it was turquoise. And she also had another turquoise ring with a butterfly on it. The silver ring with love on it, gold-colored stud earrings, and she literally was described to have had a scar on the backside of her right forearm from a childhood accident. She was described as a quiet little girl, and you never heard her. She was very much to herself. Paula left behind at the time of her disappearance her 4-year-old son named Eric. So who killed Paula, right? Lafourche Parish Sheriff's deputies are investigating whether Paula had been in a relationship with a potentially married man, and his wife possibly finding out about this affair, and this said man's wife was known to have had a bad temper. Van Boudreaux, Paula's brother, stated she had been messing around with him. A witness recently told the sheriff's investigators that they saw the man's wife wielding a cane knife, which is a type of machete in case you didn't know, on B&R Lane, making threats against Paula just a few days before Paula went missing. Paula is believed to have been killed in a house right across the street from her family home. And that is the house where she was murdered. This is where they found the DNA. No evidence has reportedly been found inside the house, as they were initially reporting on that. At the time, Paula was rumored to be having an affair, seeing a man named Russell Lee. And Russell was married to a woman named Judith Weiser. Weiser was rumored to have threatened Paula with a sugarcane knife just days before she disappeared, because she found out about the alleged affair her husband was having with Paula. And in a press release with Sheriff Craig Weber, he stated, really, where we seem to be today, and probably where it would have been 37 years ago, is that this is more of a love triangle about the direction their investigation has taken, with the people of interest questioned by detectives that were actually not even living in the state of Louisiana anymore. They were literally living in several states away. Investigators also looked into another rumor about the case, whether someone went to Golden Meadow Town Hall to the police department a few days later after Paula disappeared to confess. And we know with certain stories and as information comes to play with investigations on people and death or whatever may be happening, for whatever reasoning, they got these oxymorons, whatever you want to call them, some fucking motards, that want to go ahead and say that they were involved, they did it. They don't know shit about the fucking case. They just want to include themselves for publicity for God knows whatever reasoning. It's fucking stupid, and I don't understand it. Why would you fucking do that? You know what? I'm going to just stop talking about it, because it just, And so, deputies were able to confirm that the town secretary said she wrote down and tape recorded a statement that was given to her, but she gave both of those, the recorded statement and what was written down, to the Golden Meadow police chief at that time, because Galliano wasn't used to dealing with this, and where the home was located, it literally fell into the jurisdiction of the Golden Meadow Police Department. So, you heard correct. There was someone that went report something to confess at the sheriff's office, but the woman who wrote down all the information and did a recorded tape recording of that person's statement gave all that information to the Golden Meadow police chief at that time. Guess what, y'all? The evidence went missing. It should have been turned over to the Lafourche Parish investigators, but instead, no, they sent it to the shady ass police department. Okay. According to Sheriff Craig Weber, they never saw the confession in writing, but they did receive information that a confession was made and that there was a tape and audio tape of that said confession. The sad truth is, around that time that Paula Boudreaux went missing, there were allegations of corruption in the Lafourche Sheriff's Office that ran deep. And when I tell y'all deep, I'm going to get into that. According to Michelle Swest, they stated that everybody knows what they were doing on this bayou. It's not a secret. They were running drugs. And the they that Michelle Swest is referring to is none other than the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office. Yeah. Investigator reporter Bill Elder from WWL-TV Channel 4 did a report on similar allegations in 1989 with former Sheriff Duffy Boudreaux. Former Sheriff Duffy Boudreaux. According to Elder, the former Sheriff Duffy stated the following statement. It's cheap for people to say, well, this happened or that happened. Show me some proof. I'm not immune to prosecution. Y'all, what the fuck does that even mean? This oxymoron, Sheriff Duffy Boudreaux, yeah, corrupt as a mofo. It was said that the former Sheriff Duffy Boudreaux and some of his top deputies would later plead guilty to participating in federal corruption charges. Of all the times this MF could have done anything, why did it have to be on a missing person case? Just why? Why you had to do it in the first place? But, I mean, damn. Fuck what you got going on. Handle this missing person case. Like, your shit came to light because, one, you were doing evil. What's in the dark always comes to light. But, two, you did this family wrong. You did Paula wrong. In 1993, former Sheriff of Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, Duffy Boudreaux, pleaded guilty to the following: mail fraud, conspiracy and obstruction of justice in connection with deals he was involved with while being the sheriff. The charges stemmed from a scheme to defraud the parish of more than $100,000 through the dealings of a company that was owned by Duffy and a former chief deputy. Duffy was also charged with federal fraud and money laundering charges. 3 former deputies and a Thibodeau City employee have also pled guilty in connection with the alleged crimes with former Sheriff Boudreaux. They had admitted to knowing of the alleged crimes by Duffy Boudreaux, the chief deputy, and they also pled guilty to income tax violation, mail fraud, and obstruction of justice. So, 1, they took the evidence from the confession and the audio tape statement, and they lost that shit. Or did they hide it? Or did they intentionally misplace it, right? To go on and be a corrupt-ass cop, running fucked up shit, just gaining money off of the people. Like, no. So, this led to several people to speculate that former Sheriff Boudreaux's deputies got rid of the confession tape and statement after the Golden Meadow police chief handed it over to them. The current sheriff of Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Craig Weber, stated that those rumors were passed around the town within the sheriff's office, and nothing really came to light on those rumors, as he did not see any evidence of any type of corruption involved in the Paula Boudreaux case. Let me stop right there. Even if Sheriff Craig Weber did see corruption, you really think he's gonna fucking admit it on a police department that he is sheriff of? Hell, he was probably a deputy when this mother effer was a damn sheriff. Like, let's not. No, I didn't see no corruption. Yeah, none. However, this does beg the question: if so many people in Lafourche Parish feared the police as much as they did Paula's killers, did they fear that did that fear make them clam up and not want to talk? Which would damp the freaking investigation for all these years? Sheriff Craig Weber came into office after he defeated Duffy Bro on an anti-corruption platform election in 1991. And as deputies finished their investigation more than 30 years in the fucking making, they said that they were hoping her remains would help tell more if any of those rumors that were circulating around the small town were actually true. Why? Because they don't have a fucking clue. They don't have a clue. Anywho, Michelle just wants to say that it brings her joy to know that Paula means something now. She isn't forgotten. Deputies did periodically look back at the case over all these years, and when leads came up with witnesses who believed they had information about her disappearance, they all literally were followed, but none came up with any information. They all fell short, and they didn't even have a body to examine. The recollections of some witnesses that aged over the years, as well as the case, were drunk that came forward to potentially cover up by the police. The stories about what happened to Paula Boudreaux was just that. They were just stories. According to Michelle Swess, the stories that were circulating was that Paula was lured and buried beneath her dad's cement, and another that Paula was fed to the infamous Louisiana alligators. But through it all, the constant story was very consistent, was that Paula was murdered because she was in a love triangle with a married man and killed in a jealous rage, with her body being dismembered and dumped with her hands missing along the railroad tracks in Slidell, Louisiana. So, if you recall, that body that was found by hunters in the marsh in Slidell in 1989 was missing its hands and limbs. So, if you also recall, this woman was threatening Paula with a freaking cane knife, aka machete, just days before she went missing. So, let that sink in your head right quick, okay? So, obviously, Paula wasn't buried underneath her dad's concrete. Okay. It took the police and everyone 38 years, a total of 4 decades, to give Paula, her family, and her friends, along with her son, and the people in Lafourche Parish community, answers to that one question that everyone always wanted to know. What happened to Paula Boudreaux? Now, in the year of 2024, 2 people are in custody, and it's known to be the worst kept secret in freaking Golden Meadow, y'all. The suspects are the following: estranged husband and wife, Judith Weiser and Russell Lee. Now, who are these scumbags of the earth? Judith Lee, which, by the way, check out her mugshot. Oh my god, hideous. Anyways, Judith Lee, now remarried as Judith Weiser, was married to Russell Lee in 1986, which is the time that Russell Lee was said to be involved romantically with Paula Boudreaux. It was said that Judith became enraged when she found out about this alleged affair her husband, Russell, was having, and she was going to put an end to that one way or another. Hunters found remains in the woods of Slidell in 1989, which was 3 years after Paula Boudreaux went missing. But a break in the case of this disappearance of Paula Boudreaux didn't come until 2022 when, what? A long-distance cousin was doing a fucking family tree, and this one spot was missing, and come to find out, research, blah, 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 here we are. Breaking the case came in 2022 when the St. Tammany investigators had the FACES lab at LSU, aka Forensic Anthropology and Computer Enhancement Services, recreate a composite sketch over that Jane Doe that the hunters found the skull of. So, I will post that and you will see the sketch, right? So, a mother who lost her 20-year-old son in an accident just a few years before seeing this case in Golden Meadow came across this headline on evening news. That woman came to be known as none other than Michelle. Michelle stated hearing that these parents didn't know what happened to their daughter, they never found her, and died that way was not cool. It touched her. It spoke to her. Michelle felt safer by not showing her face through this investigation when she was interviewed, but knowing that the horrifying pain of losing a child and finding a relationship with Paula while working on a family tree, it just compelled her to contact the sheriff's office when she did. Michelle solved this whole ass case 4 decades later because the police obviously just wasn't working on it, right? It's crazy. It's just crazy how things like this happen. Like, you would want to look at that. Why does it take someone else who didn't even know about Paula Boudreaux, more or less that she was related, to come up with a grim discovery of that missing body in 1989? You think it might be a little case scenario here? Anyway, this is when Michelle phoned the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, stated that that composite sketch that the Faceless Lab introduced looked a lot like her long-lost relative, Paula Boudreaux. And that's when Sheriff Craig Weber got with the family and they did a DNA analysis of the body, the skull that was found at the crime scene, and also a relative, just to compare the DNA to see if it was a match to Paula. So Sheriff Weber was able to track down Paula's sister Lillian and her son Eric to obtain a DNA sample to compare with the Jane Doe. And the St. Tammany did that DNA testing from the evidence that they had with a DNA stain, and that's whenever they determined it was a match for Paula Boudreaux. The body that was found 3 years, not 4 decades later, the body was found 3 years after Paula went missing, was confirmed to be Paula Boudreaux. So Van, Paula's brother, got the answer to one of his questions, but it literally created a whole wind of more questions popping up, like, how did she die? Did someone kill her? And if so, who? Why? Now, since the body was able to be confirmed, they then started looking at the people involved, and they went back to the house where the murder may have taken place through, those rumors that was circulating. They were following up on that now that they had a little bit more evidence, right? Armed with a positive ID on the remains, they reopened the case, and this is when Russell Lee and Weiser were named persons of interest in the case because the police learned that Russell Lee was in relationships with both Boudreaux and Weiser at the time of the 22-year-old's murder. So investigators found statements and evidence implicating both Lee and Weiser, who had a violent criminal past. The pair are believed to have killed Boudreaux, dismembered her body, and dumped their remains in the Piney Marsh in Slidell, where she was later found by hunters. Back then, DNA was not as advanced as it is now, which is why the case went cold. According to the evidence collected at the alleged murder house, some possible blood areas were recovered in the kitchen and the bathroom. That evidence was then sent to St. Tammany for analysis. All these years later, y'all, there was also something else the investigators were able to dig up. They have Russell Lee's past arrest history. And y'all, yeah, he got one. Russell Lee's criminal history consisted of the following: violence involving women, domestic violence, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated batteries, and other serious violent offenses. So, Paula. Not victim blaming here, but damn, did it happen after this? Or, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how this all went down. Michelle stated that when deputies gave her the news that they arrested 2 suspects in connection to the disappearance and death of her long-lost cousin, distant relative, Paula Boudreaux, she said it was bittersweet and it left her speechless. She stated the following exactly: I couldn't contain it. I just cried. It's an emotion that I can't understand myself. Just closure. But justice. Russell Lee and Judith Weiser were extradited back to Louisiana to stand trial on the disappearance and murder of Paula Boudreaux. Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office detectives traveled to Missouri and Tennessee to assist with the arrest of both of these individuals. Russell Lee was taken into custody on July 9th in Missouri, and with the help of the Mountain Grove Police Department. On July 10th, this is when Weiser was taken into custody, and she was in Tennessee with the assistance of the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. Both Lee and Weiser were charged with second-degree murder and obstruction of justice. They were transported to Louisiana, where they were booked at the Lafourche Parish Correctional Complex, each on a $1.1 million bond. So, I'm going to get to the finding of the remains. The St. Tammany Parish Office said that a hunter found the human skull in a wooded area, which is a wildlife refuge near Palm Lake area in Slidell on Friday morning, November 10th, 1989. The sheriff's office didn't name the refuge, but the Big Branch Marsh National Wildlife Refuge is the only one adjacent to Palm Lake. This location is 100 miles away from where Paula was at her mother and father's home. Sheriff investigators and agents from the State Department of Wildlife and Fisheries responded to the scene and found that the pieces of the victim's body were scattered amongst the brush. And they thought this was likely scattered due to animals picking at it. They did not find any immediate signs suggesting foul play, is what was reported, but you find a human skull, you find a torso, but the limbs are detached. You don't think that's foul play? I guess they cooked it up to the animals possibly tearing the body to shreds, but not what the coroner stated. So the sheriff's office said that the skull was turned over to the St. Tammany Parish Coroner's Office as part of that investigation, and the coroner spokesperson at that time, named James Hartman, said that the DNA from the skull would be ran through the FBI's national DNA system, see if a match would come up. Like I said, DNA was not where it is at, as it is today, back in 1986 or 1989 for that matter. We came a very long way. So this was done after DNA resolved and 2022 came to light, and they compared the evidence. So the DNA indexing system contained profiles contributed by the federal, state, and participating local forensic labs. So in case you didn't realize, even if you submit your DNA to Ancestry.com, unless you click the button for it to be searched properly, police will not have access to that. But they can gain access to that. So announce that be known. They can gain access to that, but they don't automatically have it. So if they have a DNA thing to run into the system and they run it and it doesn't pop up, it's because it's not part of their individualized system, but they could get that information guaranteed. All they gotta do is call that judge, hey, I need this subpoena to issue this, and they could get it. Okay, so like I said, the skull was sent to the Faces Lab at LSU in April of 2013, where clay was literally placed over the skull to create a composite sketch who really, really resembled Paula Boudreaux. Paula Boudreaux's dismembered remains were found, and how Boudreaux died and how her remains wound up in Slidell is still literally a mystery and being investigated by the local law enforcement. Moreover, the nature of her disappearance, was it sudden? Was it planned? A sudden absence may suggest foul play, while a planned departure could imply a desire to start a new life, perhaps influenced by personal circumstances or relationships, like would she run off with this Russell Lee guy to start a new life, leave Weiser behind? But I mean, she would not leave her 4-year-old son Eric behind. So that's what all these questions were coming into play while they were still trying to come up with the answers to what happened to Paula. So next, you must consider the year itself, 1986. It was an error before modern technology, and it complicated all instances in this case. And the absence of immediate means of communication could mean that any sightings or information that gathered near this time were literally sparse. They were scarce. They were not really reliable because, like I said, they were drunk. Most of the witnesses were drunk, number one. Number two, you didn't have all these cell phones. You didn't have social media. You didn't have all of that. So word wasn't good. And then, like, again, back then, police officers were too worried about measuring who was better department and didn't want to communicate with one another or work together with one another when we're all out for the same thing. Protect and serve. Protect and motherfucking serve. But I'm glad we were involved. But during this time, it was just so messed up. So, witness accounts must be scrutinized. Those who saw her last might hold the key to unraveling this mystery of what actually happened to her. Interviews with family, friends, and local residents would provide some type of sight what her state of mind was at the time prior to her disappearance. Lastly, there is important evidence of revisiting that old evidence through modern techniques we involved. So take that evidence and run it through all the stuff we have available to us now. As advancements in forensic science continue to evolve, a further examination of the past clues, including clothing, personal items found, or any available surveillance footage, which may or may not have been around that area, might illuminate to what was once concealed in the shadows of time. Paula's brother, Van Boudreaux, stated the following. Everybody talked about it, kind of rumor. But a rumor down here, is pretty much the truth. Yeah. Louisiana, small town, I guarantee you the rumor, 90% of it is true. Now, they might have some added bullshit to it, but I promise you, there's some truth to that rumor. In January 2023, this is when the investigators got that break in that case, more than a total of 4 decades later, when DNA was used by the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office and St. Tammany coroner to confirm the identity of Paula Boudreaux as the Jane Doe found in Slidell's marsh. Jane Doe's body was found by hunters 3 years after Paula went missing, but no one put the freaking links together. There was no reporting other than the police report of a missing person that seemed like no one was really trying to solve this case. The coroner and the sheriff held a press conference in April 2023 announcing the discovery. This conference, is whenever they arrested Russell Lee and Weiser. And Sheriff Craig Weber stated the following. This arrest is a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice by our investigators and our advances in forensic science that made it possible to solve cases once thought to be unsolvable. Our thoughts are with Paula Boudreaux's family as we take this step towards closure. Yeah. Y'all heard that statement, right? This arrest is a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice by our investigators and advances in forensic science. What fucking pursuit was there? There was none. There was shady shit happening in the freaking sheriff's office in 1986, 1989. Y'all couldn't piece the shit together until y'all got Paula Boudreaux's cousin, Michelle Swess, to call in and tell y'all, hey, y'all know y'all had a body missing? Yeah, the body was found in 1989 in Slidell. Did y'all think to fucking look? Did y'all think that, hey, maybe Paula was dumped that fucking Slidell? Huh? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. But you want to take praise for this. Boo, you didn't do this. You might have had the resources and allegations to confirm Michelle Swest's theory. But baby, Michelle Swess solved this case. It wasn't nothing to do with the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, baby. It wasn't. Now, The LSU Faces Lab, who created a composite sketch to one initialize Michelle Schwess to be able to say, hey, look, that looks like a picture that I once seen of Paula Boudreaux. Now, that I could say, yeah, they did good. But that was LSU Faces Lab. That wasn't the fucking Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office relentless work on this case. I'm sorry, boo. You got to give credit where it's due, and it's not for the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office. Credit is due to Michelle Schwess. She is phenomenal. Sheriff Weber stated at a press conference in April 2023, today her family can begin to have some closure. Van Boudreaux stated he was relieved, and he also stated the following. You always put it in the back of your mind. And you go to work and you let it rest. When you come home, you just you don't want to think about it for a while. You lose yourself, but it's always in the back of my mind and in my heart. Thanks to Michelle Schwess and her best friend, Paula Boudreaux's life is no longer a whisper around the small town of Golden Meadow about how she went missing. It is now solved. And I'm going to leave y'all with this quote. Van Boudreaux, Paula's brother, is kind of like a sigh of relief in a way. This is what we've been shooting for all this time. And it would have been super nice to come home, have her here, and to reacquaint. Following her disappearance, like I said, Paula Boudreaux left behind her 4-year-old son. Her 4-year-old son, now an adult with children of his own, named Eric, and her son's father have been notified whenever the identification of Paula Boudreaux's remains came to light. Sadly, both of Paula Boudreaux's parents have died since her disappearance, and they would never find out the fate of what happened to their daughter at 22 years old on that fateful night. Paula's mom died 4 months, just 4 months after Paula went missing in January of 1987. She couldn't take it. She could not take it. Both parents died, never finding out what happened to their daughter on that very night, August 3rd, 1986. This case was a doozy. It pisses me off, and y'all, don't ever let a fucking relationship, I don't care if you are the woman being cheated on, I don't care if you are the other woman, the side hoe, the side bitch, trick, whatever you want to call yourself. A man or a woman, regardless of the roles reversed, should not allow themselves to be consumed by anger enough to kill this other person. We all may talk about shit of what may or may not happen if I found my significant other in a bed with another man, a woman, whatever. Now, I can assure you, I'll probably beat the shit out of both of them. Why? Because it ain't just the other woman or the other man, whatever relationship status you're in. Nah, I'll beat the hell out of both of them. But you know what I would do? I would go after the one first. In my case, it would be that woman. I would go after that woman first. Why? Because I don't know nothing about her. I don't know where she live or whatever. I know everything about my man, though. I know where to find his ass. He could run, he could hide, he could do whatever. I'm going to find that bitch ass. But I ain't going to kill him. I ain't going to kill him. Why? Because, you know what? Let the trash take out itself. This woman allowed her anger to consume her. Her husband cheated on her, having an affair with Paula Boudreaux, and then she went after her with a machete. Now, whether or not both of them took place in the murder, knowing that Russell Lee had a violent criminal history, not sure if it was before Paula Boudreaux's disappearance or if it was after that case, but nonetheless, it started with Paula Boudreaux, at least. My theory is they both were involved in that. I think that the wife is literally the one who started it, and Russell went with her, as would anybody. This bitch is holding a fucking knife. Well, I'm sorry, holding a machete, right? Coming at me, threatening me, then chop this bitch up. And this is the mind frame that I'm thinking Russell's going in. Not that I could ever be considered in this damn dude's mind frame, but I'm thinking like, man, this bitch is psycho. She done went after my fling right here, my chick right here. I mean, what's she gonna do to me? So he probably helped her with the body. Nonetheless, I'm sure she needed help to carry Paula's body to that marsh area. I mean, that's why they're both arrested. They're both at fault. So, again, thank y'all for being so loyal and listening and giving me a chance. But thank y'all so much with all the hell, chaos, everything going on in the world. Also, man, oh man, I love to hear good things happening. Why? Because every time you scroll social media, you turn on the TV, all you hear is about suspect shot in the ninth ward, suspect killed, murder, attempted murder, rape, blah, 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 arrested, drug paraphernalia. All you hear is the bad shit. You rarely hear of the good stuff. Why? Because most people don't report on the good stuff. Or those who are truly genuine, good, and doing good for other people don't get noticed because they're not out there filming it, because they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're not doing it to get likes or clicks or any of that good shit. They're doing it because they're good, genuinely good-ass people. I heard this story on the radio, Tell Me Something Good with Bobby Bones. Well, they had this woman that was homeless and sleeping underneath a house. Now, this house was occupied by a family. Now, she was a single mom with kids, but this woman seen that somebody was sleeping underneath her house, and one day, left a blanket and a pillow, and then the homeless woman was like, what's going on? Where this blanket and pillow came from, right? So, it came to one day that the homeowner left a note for the homeless person saying, you're not in trouble. If you need anything, like a phone, food, blanket, a bath, let me know. How genuine is that? I'm not sure how this came to light. Maybe the woman who was homeless shared this story, because what this homeowner did was help this woman get back on her feet. Y'all, this is what it's about helping people, helping the community. We need more good in this world. Bobby Bones show in the morning, I listen to it faithfully. I mean, they crack me up, for one. Bobby Bones, oh man, and Lunchbox, okay. Anyways, they crack me up, and they do some good. Now, that good show segment, I mean, that is so awesome. I mean, I love to hear it. I'm all for it. Y'all go out and do something good today. If not, just smile. Tell someone, hey, have a nice day. Hold the door open for someone. You'll never know what someone is going through, y'all. Now, I do know I'm quick to be in a rush. I'm trying to hurry up and get things done. But if you really just stop and think, you don't know what somebody's going through. You can make their day. You can save their life. Y'all, just think. Just think. So much chaos in this world. So much death. Death. A lot of parents hurting their children. A lot of children hurting their parents. A lot of strangers hurting people because they want to fix drugs. I mean, man, you name it, it's crazy. It's happening. And multiple times a day. And in our backyards right next to us. Damn. Alright, I'm going to stop preaching, but thank y'all. Thank y'all for listening. And again, come back next week. I will have another episode for you. We got this. We're going good. We're going strong. I could do one a week, with the exception of natural disasters, like I said previously. So if you enjoyed our show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or Amazon Music, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Oh my God, one more thing. So the voting ended with the Women's Podcasting Awards on October 1st. They're announcing the winners of that on October 22nd. So y'all tune in, because I promise y'all, I am going to be tuned into that, looking to see if the show and I won Women's in Podcasting Awards. But anything, it was just a pleasure to be honored, to be, a recipient to possibly get this award. I am very, very honored to actually be nominated. So thank y'all for that. Thank y'all all who voted, whether it was for me or not. Hell, we had 6 people in the category, and I'm just lucky to have that opportunity. I mean, there's always next year if it's not this year, and best believe I'm not stopping, okay? So be sure to come back next week, and that I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Murder of Bruce Chitara. Until then, this is your host, Sarah Soudier. And don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe to your Criminalist Behavior Louisiana True Crime Podcast. Also, check that show note. Again, I'm going to leave the link for our website. You can become a Patreon. There's all kind of little goodies on there. And I'm about to literally start not just doing Louisiana cases, although I literally, main focus of whenever I created this podcast is to just cover Louisiana. But I am going to branch out because, oh my God, they got some crazy shit happening in this world, right? And all their stories need to be told. It's not just Louisiana. I highlight Louisiana because Louisiana's lost and forgotten. All you hear about is Bourbon Street, right? Partying, parades, whatever. So, like, most of these cases that I'm mentioning really, really don't get any justice. They don't get any media, no attention, and they pretty much get swept under the rug and forgotten about. We need better. We can do better. And y'all, that's all I got for you. Y'all have a wonderful night, and I'll catch y'all next week. Or I might be able to sneak in another episode. Until then, thank y'all. Goodbye.